How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit that bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on my channel. And in this video, we're going to be continuing on reading through my book series. We are continuing on reading through, of course, The Final War, Regime Rising. This is part 2. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out part 1, make sure you guys do that before you guys continue on in this video. And if you guys are reading along with me, we're going to be starting at chapter 3, Rising of the Regime, on page 26. And to backtrack real quick, if you guys are reading along with me, we just ended where basically the first part in the first 2 chapters of this book was getting most of the primary characters set up as to where they were at in the universe and whatnot. Earth has been completely destroyed. Not just everything on it, but the entire planet is gone. Earth is gone. And certain people were able to survive and escape, including Douglas and all of his good friends. And then we also got into the fact that the new villain for this trilogy of the Final War, that is going to be the main controller of the regime, is rising to power. And chapter 3 is going to start 2 weeks before Earth is destroyed, and we're going to see Mr. Halo Shadow and the other head prisoners. They're all going to join up, and it's going to be a background story, the chapter 3 at least, as to how and why Earth is completely annihilated. So this is going to be 2 weeks before Earth is destroyed, so this is kind of like a background chapter. And then we're going to be continuing on with the chapter 2 afterwards. So we're going to be reading a couple chapters in this. My goal is still to keep this book to 4 parts. I know for a fact that the first part was like 42 or 45 minutes long. These videos are going to be long, but I've got time to make it where I read for about an hour tops or so. So yes, these videos are going to be long for the Final War. The books are long, so I hope you can understand that. Enough said. I hope you guys enjoy. This is The Final War, Regime Rising, Part 2. Enjoy. Chapter 3, Rising of the Regime. 2 weeks earlier. Location, Prime 67. Also, if you guys could let me know in the comments section if you guys hear a buzzing sound, because I do have a fan going on. Right now, my life is kind of in a turmoil, and with my normal setup studio. So I'm outside recording, and I've got to have a fan on because right now it's like 95 degrees at the time we're recording this video, and I don't want to die of a heat stroke. So if there is a fan noise, I apologize. I'm trying to keep it away from the camera so you guys don't hear it, but if there is, I apologize. Continuing on. The head prisoner warriors walked up to Mr. Halo Shadow after witnessing the odd man's intense strength and special abilities to talk with the man. Besides being able to levitate and using your super strength, what other powers do you possess? Asked one of the warriors. I can control fire and water and can never be killed, said Halo. Are you immortal? Asked the same man, with green spikes coming out of his back. Yes, yet what are you? Asked Halo. Darth Vader introduced himself as a human with a breathing mask due to battle with injuries. Morg as a muscular human with a new learned ability to mind control people if he touched their skin. Darth Upte as a creature with green spikes out of his back called a green stick. Dr. Ice as a human covered in ice with the ability to freeze anything. Octa Punny as a human with 8 eyeballs called a Zitte. Nikolai Sith as a human with powers like a demon and Satan's son. And Satan as leader of the prisoners, a human with demon abilities and former high leader of the Arm until its destruction by the Corps during the Battle of Space-Mageddon. Great to meet you all at last, said Halo. Likewise, Mr. Shadow, because we have all agreed from your recent show for you to become head warrior and have us as your generals, said Satan, not 100% happy he was losing his position. I accept. However, I wish for your son to be second in command of my army, said Halo. Done. Yet what do you mean, my army? Said Satan. You don't think I have been in this prison for 19 years just eating and sitting around the place. I have made many friends in this place that have given their loyalty to me. as you have as well. My friends are allies in this place and have been doing some investigating of how this installation is structured, said Halo. How do you what do you plan on calling your army? Asked Nikolai Sith. I was thinking about calling it the Regime, replied Halo. Great name. So, do you want to have the prison rebellion started now? Asked Darth Vader. All prisoners, rebel! Yelled Halo. Suddenly, several pockets of green gas filled the eating area and spread throughout the entire prison, killing all of the core members and no prisoners. The prison guards all fell to the ground, and even the ones in guard towers. Darth Upte checked the pulse of a guard and determined the human had no pulse. Filter the fumes out of the prison, please, said Mr. Halo Shadow. The fumes disappeared out of the installation. The prison doors opened throughout the base, and everyone realized they were all free. What happened? Why didn't the fumes kill any of the prisoners? Asked Morg. Before you are all placed inside of this installation, you're injected with a drug to prevent you from getting ill. One of my friends discovered that the drug is powerful enough to protect against deadly fumes also. So, I just used the one weapon the guards could not protect themselves against, said Halo. Very smart, my lord, said Octopunny. What now, my lord? Asked Nikolai, being second in command of the newly formed regime. There are only certain creatures in this base of operations now, since I killed the 2 Zygotes, and that means I can divide a portion of my army among each one of you generals, said Halo. Mr. Shadow assigned all the ARC troopers, humans with blaster rifles, super strong body armor, and thermal grenades to Darth Vader. Morg was assigned all the terrorists in the joint, and Octopunny was assigned the Koltan forces, a race of humans with the head of a lizard. Dr. Ice was assigned to the small force of zombie pirates and vampires. Satan was tasked to handle the evilest of creatures in the universe, T-180s. What about me, my lord? Asked Darth Upte. There is no force in this prison left to assign to you, said Halo. Where does that place me on your chain of generals? Asked Darth Upte, becoming very upset with the new leader. You are very special, Darth Upte, and I have great plans for you, answered Mr. Shadow. I sincerely hope so, for your sake, said Darth Upte, with a heart of hate and a mind devising a way to kill Halo without being blamed for it. The prisoners agreed to their assigned positions and favored Mr. Halo Shadow as their leader and as High Commander of the regime. Minutes later, the regime stormed the armory and grabbed certain weapons. ARC troopers grabbed a blaster rifle, super strong body armor, and thermal grenades, while every other creature grabbed just a blaster rifle. Halo and his generals grabbed a red lightsaber, and the regime waited for Halo's next order. Octopunny, I want you to take your Koltan force, locate a normal human man, and kill him, said Halo. Who do you wish for me to kill? Asked Octopunny. Douglas Arnold Armstrong, but send the T-180 first. If the T-180 does not return, then you and the Koltans may go, said Halo. As you wish, replied Octopunny. 2 weeks later, present day, June 21st, 2013. Welcome to the planet Mac, Douglas Armstrong, said God, greeting the group. The Holy Trinity is right in front of me, exclaimed Douglas, seeing Jesus and the Holy Spirit behind God. Take it easy, son. Welcome to you too, Devin Armstrong, Amy Long, and Brittany Lewis, said God. My lord, we have several issues to discuss, said General BJ. I agree, especially with the recent destruction of the planet Earth, said God. Why are we in a station with no glass windows to see out of, or doors to walk outside? Asked Brittany, as the group of 14 walked towards a conference room. This planet is core controlled. However, it was not easy because we can't build a large base of operations. The reason is there are deadly fumes outside of this station. We have to build this station on Doug Apollo U and transport it here. This is known as a refueling base for ships, and the only way in and out is by ships, locked in airlocks, or teleportation, replied Jesus. The group entered a conference room where 3 different creatures were sitting down in chairs around a large table. One of the creatures was a machine gun arm droid, another was a walking and talking tree, and the last one was a walking and talking hamster. Please have a seat, said God, sitting down in a golden throne that was centered among the table. Jesus and the Holy Spirit sat in chairs on God's throne's left and right sides. Douglas sat across from God, and everyone else sat in between the two majorly important Corps people. These are the other three generals of the Corps, said God. I know you three. You are Droid General Ace of C7F6, Tree General Rosh of FE74, and Hamster General Billy of Earth 2's Hamster Harbor, said Douglas. Correct, Douglas, and they, along with everyone else in this room, are here to discuss certain issues, said God. First, I would like to join the Corps, along with my 19-year-old girlfriend, Amy Long, my 14-year-old brother, Devin Armstrong, and Devin's girlfriend of 14, Brittany Lewis, said Douglas. God looked at the group of 40-year-old men and women sent to protect Douglas and did not say anything to revoke Douglas's request. Douglas looked at the creature generals, the Holy Spirit, and his son to have the same response. You are part of the Corps, said God. Thank you, said Douglas. However, I am stepping down as High Commander of the Corps and placing the entire Trinity as advisors under our new leader, said God. You mean that BJ is High Commander? Asked Ace. No. Circumstances have changed today with Earth's passing, and the Trinity has decided to place Douglas as the new High Commander, said God. Everyone in the room stared at Douglas, BJ, and Ace with an angry look because they should not have. Everyone in the room stared at Douglas, BJ, and Ace with an angry look because they should have moved up in the ranks with the Trinity becoming advisors. Do you wish to accept the offer? Do you wish to accept the offer? Asked God. I am greatly honored, but I have no idea how to run an army or know how to make decisions as the High Commander of the greatest group of good creatures in the universe, said Douglas. That is why the Trinity will advise you and why you'll have 4 generals under your leadership, to keep a check and balance system between you and the Corps, said God. Douglas looked around the room and lastly at his lover, sitting on his right side in a chair. Do it, Douglas, and use your power to avenge Earth through doing good and destroying evil, said Amy. I accept, said God. Then by the powers inside of the Holy Trinity, the Corps, and the universe, I proclaim you, Douglas Arnold Armstrong, High Commander of the Corps, said God. God stood up out of the golden throne and walked over to where Douglas was sitting with a look of, get up. Douglas, as High Commander of the Corps, you are the only person allowed to sit in any golden throne on a Corps-controlled planet, said God. I understand, but since you created me and the rest of the universe, I demand you remain in that seat forever, said Douglas. God smiled at Douglas and sat back down in his golden throne. That was a test to see if I was correct about you being the one of rare blood, said God. God, when I was attacked by a T-180 on Earth and he said that I was of rare blood, what did it, the group sent to protect me, and just now, by you, mean by that? Lastly, why did you send a group to protect me in the first place? Said Douglas. Douglas, a one of rare blood means you are of pure blood and have a pure heart. You believed in me and understood my teachings from the Bible by faith until your desire to see me today was fulfilled. I sent BJ and his squad to watch over you and protect you from evil, because I foresaw this day back on the day you were born in 1994, answered God. Why would evil want to harm me, a normal human man? Asked Douglas. Because a person of rare blood means they contain the power within themselves to succeed in any task they set their mind to. This is a threat to evil, as long as you live, Douglas, said Hamster Billy. Then, if evil wants to harm me, I want to form my own division of the Corps, code-named Unit Alpha. The unit will consist of me, Devin, Amy, Brittany, Chad, Peter, Laura, Jack, Andrew, and Ash, said Douglas. Great, then your unit will be tasked with learning about why the guards at the maximum security prison on Prime 67 have not returned our calls for 2 weeks, said God. Interesting for it being 2 weeks, because 2 weeks ago I was attacked by a T-180, said Douglas. What scares us is we searched the universe, no man's land, and the uncharted space to place every living T-180 on Prime 67, said Jesus. I guess you missed one, said Devon. Or we didn't, and the prison has been taken over by Mr. Shadow, said Rosh. Who is Mr. Shadow? Asked Amy. Mr. Shadow, also known as Halo, was a human with black-colored skin and wore a black robe everywhere he traveled. Back in 1994, he was a member of the Corps High Council on New Heaven, yet was sentenced to imprisonment on Prime 67 for life because he hated you being born and questioned my love towards him with intense force. I fear that if a T-180 attacked you from the prison, that the prisoners are free, and Mr. Halo Shadow will surely want revenge, said God, looking at Douglas. What if he had ordered the attack on Earth? Asked Brittany. He might believe Douglas is dead, and no one can stop his plans or kill him, said Ace. He is about to be surprised today when he sees my face, said Douglas. Unit Alpha, take the STC-40 for your travel. The Corps is leaving Mac and will be waiting for your information at our base on the planet Apollo U, said God. Unit Alpha, with its 10 members, left the conference room, entered an airlocked room with an enormous ship with missile tubes, blasters, and blaster cannons. It even had the largest shielded glass window in the Corps fleet in the front to see out of, the command bridge. The team boarded the STC-40, which stood for Space Travel Craft to hold 40 people, unlocked the airlock, left the gas planet of Mac, and headed towards Prime 67. I hope Douglas makes good judgments as High Commander of the Corps, said Ace. He will. Otherwise, I will rebel against him and move up in the ranks to take over his position, said BJ, second in command of the Corps. Chapter 4. Lockout on Prime 67. Location, Prime 67. Octopunny and his Koltan forces piloted their ships and fighters inside of the installation and unloaded to greet the regime's commander, Mr. Halo Shadow. Oh. Did you succeed in killing Douglas Armstrong? Asked Mr. Shadow, greeting the 8-eyeballed creature as the Zit. Did you succeed in killing Douglas Armstrong? Asked Mr. Shadow, greeting the 8-eyeballed creature as the Zitte left his ship. Indeed I did. I personally launched the missiles that destroyed his house, and even went to greater measures to ensure his death by blowing up the planet he was on, said Octopunny. Halo processed the information carefully, quickly drew out his red lightsaber, and pointed the blade at Octopunny's throat. The other generals walked closer towards Halo to prevent him from killing Octopunny, yet stopped in their plans when Halo waved his hands that it was okay. I am glad that Douglas is dead. However, you destroying an entire planet to make it happen only allows the Corps to realize that some army has risen to conquer the universe. Plus, since we can't answer back to the Corps that has been calling us for 2 weeks, since the communication tower was destroyed from a recent storm, they are going to piece together that there has been a prisoner break and the prisoners destroyed Earth. Do you really think that we need to have the Corps knocking on our doorsteps right now? Said Halo. I was not thinking about that while making sure your mark was eliminated 100%, said Octopunny. Don't destroy planets without my orders, said Halo. Halo deactivated his red lightsaber, placed it in its holster around his belt, and walked away. Location, the STC-40. Unit Alpha enjoyed their certain positions on the enormous ship. It was larger than the older models the Corps used, such as the NS-7 T-14 model, the MT-6 D-81 model, the V-87 model, the ESV-64 model, and the DAAS-44 model. Douglas will arrive at Prime 67 in 1 hour, said Devon, the ship's pilot. Everyone, you have to come here to see this, said Laura, entering the command bridge. The 10 members of the Corps left the bridge and followed Laura into a special room filled with tons of blaster rifles, ammunition, and 2 vehicles. The team looked at the 2 vehicles, and Douglas remembered from his dream warnings of what they were. This is the 63 cannon tank with numerous seats and oxygen sealed tank, or also known as the 63 NO tank, which can hold 2 people. This other mode of transportation is the super famous ARC 170 armored jeep, with 2 front machine gun turrets and 1 back machine gun turret, which can hold up to 7 people, said Douglas. You really have a lot of knowledge of the universe from just your dreams, said Peter. Yes, I do, said Douglas, smiling. So what are these tools for kicking butt doing on our ship? Asked Andrew. I think it is quite simple to conclude that God wants us to have these for our protection, said Douglas. Protection from what? Asked Andrew. Everyone was silent because no one had an answer, yet they would soon. Devin and Brittany, both 14 years old, left the armory first. Then Douglas and Amy, both 19 years old, left the area. Finally, Chad, Laura, Peter, Ash, Jack, and Andrew, all 40 years old, followed Douglas out of the room. The unit returned to the command bridge and began detailing everyone's powers, starting off with Douglas's. Douglas, what are your powers? Asked Chad. I didn't think I had any for real, said Douglas. Chad, Peter, Laura, Jack, Andrew, and Ash laughed very hard at Douglas's statement, while Douglas, Devin, Amy, and Brittany wondered what was so funny. Douglas, your dreams were in a way real, so whatever powers were in your dreams are what you have right now, said Chad. I can use the Book of Power, teleport, and can control the black hole in Sector 21, replied Douglas. The same group laughed again at Douglas's statement. Douglas, the Book of Power doesn't exist. The Book of Power is just a way to say the Bible in your dreams without saying the Bible, said Chad. I disagree with you, Chad, on the fact the Book of Power does not exist, said Douglas. Really? Please provide your facts or research to prove it, said Chad. There was no answer from Douglas. Chad ended the debate between him and Douglas to state that he had the ability to turn into a T-180 and control himself for good. Peter told the unit that he can control fire and water and make anything from his mind appear. Next, Ash stated that he could teleport, fly, control fire and water, see the future, time travel, and use ancient wisdom. Jack, Andrew, Laura, Amy, Devin, and Brittany had no powers because they were just not gifted in these ways, or were only able to use their powers in certain parts of the universe. Douglas, we're about to enter Prime 67's atmosphere, said Devin. Amy, scan the area for the installation's precise location. Chad, prepare the ship's blasters, blaster cannons, and missiles in case this gets interesting. Brittany, open a channel to communicate with the prison guards, said Douglas. Everyone given a task began working while the rest of the team watched through the glass window at the desert planet they were hovering above. Location: Dugopaloyu, Core Base. General BJ, Droid General Ace, Tree General Rosh, and Hamster General Billy. Is our base up and running? Asked God. Yes, said BJ. Good to know. We need to be ready for Unit Alpha's return to plan our next move, said Jesus. Location: the STC-40. Douglas, I've located the prison installation, said Amy. Brittany, do you have a channel open? Asked Douglas. Yes, answered Brittany. This is Douglas Armstrong, High Commander of the Corps, and I am asking permission to land, said Douglas. There was no answer. Prison installation of Prime 67. This is Unit Alpha of the Corps, and I am asking permission to land, said Douglas, trying again. There was still no answer. Devin, take us down, and Chad, have your trigger finger ready, said Douglas. Devin piloted the ship and landed the STC-40 on a landing platform outside of the prison installation. The team of 10 exited out of the ship and saw a sandstorm miles away from their current position. Then the team looked not to see any guards to greet them at the entrance checkpoint to the prison and wondered what was going on. Team, be on your guard. I don't like this situation one bit, said Douglas, drawing out his blaster rifle. All the members had their blaster rifles ready to open fire and looked to see the checkpoint room to see 2 prison guards with holes in their heads. I think we have an answer as to why no one has called the Corps back in 2 weeks. There must have been a prison rebellion and the prisoners won, said Jack. What impresses and scares me is what impresses and scares me is they were well organized to take out the guards at the entrance checkpoint, said Douglas. What do we do now? Asked Devon. Let's get inside of the general population area and search the prison until we kill every prisoner, said Douglas. Unit Alpha walked up to the door, yet it could not open. Laura checked the guards, and Chad searched the entire room for keys or a button to open it. However, the keys were missing, and the button was destroyed from a blaster shot. The prisoners must have made it so the only way in and out is through ships, landing inside of the installation, which we could do if there weren't thousands of armed prisoners probably guarding it, said Ash. So we're locked out of the installation and have only access to the outside landing platform and a checkpoint? That means the prisoners won't think to patrol the area since no one can breach it, said Douglas. What is your plan? Asked Amy. Ash, teleport us inside and unlock the door. All you should have to do is press a button on a nearby control panel and the door will open, said Douglas. Consider it done, Commander, said the Chosen One. Ashbeka teleported and a second later was on the other side of the door. Ashbeka looked around to see a muscular man and a control panel to unlock the door. The man dashed towards Ash while Ash tried to open the door. Ash moved as fast as he could to unlock the door, yet the man reached his position and touched Ash's skin. What did you do? Asked Ash, losing control of his mind. I am Morg, and I use my power to mind control you, said the eight-eyeballed creature. Laura, place some C4 on the door and blow it open. I don't want to reveal our presence. But Ash should have opened the door by now, and we have no way to contact him, said Douglas. Laura placed a gigantic piece of C4 on the door. Everyone hid behind cover, and Laura detonated the C4. An enormous dust cloud blew through the area. The team left their cover and looked to see the door blown to pieces. An army of terrorists with blaster rifles, Morg with a red lightsaber, and Ash acting like a mindless zombie. Ash, what's going on? Asked Douglas. I turned your friend here into my mind-controlled puppet, and the only way to free your friend is to kill me, said Morg. Then my unit and I will take your head, said Douglas. Unit Alpha and the terrorist forces began dishing it out with blaster rifles, and moments later, Douglas and Morg came face to face with each other to end the battle. Douglas dashed towards Morg, leaped into midair, and aimed his lightsaber to slice Morg's head off. However, Douglas's green lightsaber was contacted by a red lightsaber, not held in Morg's hands. Douglas and his unit looked to see Mr. Shadow. Douglas and Mr. Shadow released out of the lightsaber cross and walked away from each other. Douglas and Mr. Shadow released out of the lightsaber cross and walked away from each other a few feet. There we go. I am Mr. Halo Shadow. Who possesses the guts to attack one of my generals and a portion of my army, said Halo, with his black robe still on him. I am Douglas Armstrong, and this is my unit called Unit Alpha, said Douglas. What is your rank? Asked Halo. I am High Commander of the Corps. What's your rank? Replied Douglas. Halo's face turned red because he realized the one of rare blood was still alive and possessed the power to kill him. I am High Commander of the Regime, with Darth Vader, Morg, Darth Update, Dr. Ice, Satan, and Nikolai as my generals, and zombie pirates, terrorists, vampires, demons, T-180s, ARC troopers, and Coltons as my entire army. Together we will crush the Corps and rule the universe, said Halo. Why? Asked Douglas. I once was in second in command of the Corps and a member of the High Council on New Heaven, until my parents aided in my sentence to serve life in prison. I plan to have my revenge for what the Corps has done to my life, along with the life of thousands of others over the centuries, said Halo. You will not succeed in your mission while my unit, still lives, said Douglas. You can't stop me. The final war between good and evil has begun and will end with my victory, said Halo. Devon, get everyone to the STC-40 and leave me. I'll distract the regime, said Douglas softly. What about Ash? Asked Amy softly. We can't rescue him right now. There are too many of them and too few of us, said Douglas softly. Surrender or perish, said Halo. Go, said Douglas softly to Devon and Amy. Devin, Amy, Brittany, Chad, Laura, Peter, Jack, and Andrew dashed into the STC-40 and prepared to leave, while Douglas engaged Halo in a lightsaber duel. "Let's end this here and now, shall we?" said Halo. The lightsaber swung left and right as the two lightsaber duelists fought to the death. After 20 seconds of battling, Douglas drove his green lightsaber through Halo's chest. However, the regime leader was not dead. Douglas took his lightsaber out of his opponent and realized Halo was immortal. "Release my friend," said Douglas. "I can't, even if I wanted to. Only Morg's death will save your friend now," said Halo. "Then inform him that when he and I meet again, to be ready for his death," said Douglas. Douglas looked at the STC-40 to see it was lifting off of the platform Douglas looked at the STC-40 to see it lifting off of the landing platform and back at Halo with a smile. "We will meet again," said Douglas. Douglas broke off from the duel, teleported into the STC-40, and watched as Jab pushed down on the trigger button to fire missiles and lasers at the landing platform full of regime terrorists. "We are out of here, Douglas," said Devin. Devin piloted the STC-40 off of the planet Prime 67 and headed for the core base on the planet Doug Apollo U. Location: Prime 67. "I'm so happy!" exclaimed Halo. "Commander, you're immortal," said Morg. "Yes, Douglas has not found the way to kill me," said Halo. "Halo, what do you wish for us to do with this core member?" asked Morg. "Morg, have you successfully mind-controlled the Chosen One?" asked Halo. "Yes, my leader," said Morg. "Great work, my general," said Halo. Seconds later, Octopunny and Darth Update arrived at the remains of the landing platform to talk with Morg and Halo. "We successfully placed a tracking beacon on their ship," said Darth Update. "Finally, something from the two of you," said Halo. Darth Vader, Dr. Ice, Satan, and Nikolai Sith approached the generals and the regime leader to realize what was going on. "Octopunny, inform your fellow generals we have a crisis still at large. Your mark on the planet Earth survived your attack with the aid of the core. Yet, with the tracking beacon on his ship, we should be able to hunt him down. He might lead us to a core stronghold, and we could eliminate all core forces at the same time," said Halo. "What are your orders, Commander?" asked Nikolai. "Gather my army and have them board our ships and fighters to leave. We're going to hunt down Unit Alpha and make this war the final war between good and evil," said Halo. And that is it, guys. We have finished part 2. Look forward to part 3 coming out very soon. You guys all have a good one. Bye.